Hi, everybody. This is Susan Bradley Bortfield. Welcome to Soul Speakers Series. I am so excited for today because I have the honor of interviewing Miss Nori Love herself. Hello. Hello.
Hey, thank you.
Oh my gosh. So let me tell you a little bit about Nori. She's like one of my favorite people on the planet. Like, seriously, one of my favorite people. So much happens when we connect together. Like, we were just talking that on her window, she saw a red cardinal and a dove, right? So, how cool is that? Nori is an RN. She is a certified law of attraction coach. She is a hypnotherapist. She is a Reiki master. She is love. She is love. Everything she puts out there is from a real space of authenticity that I so respect and honor within her. I love playing with Nori because she is so creative and just such a beautiful, amazing, beautiful spirit. So, without further ado, here she is.
Yes, that's so nice. I felt that.
Oh, I feel it every time we're together. Um, so I do have the honor to play with Nori quite a bit and collaborate and co-create, and we have a lot of fun together. Um, and I just think you're magic.
Oh,
You're just magic. Everything you do, I know that coming from that authentic space and really showing up is really important to you. And I, you have a new weekly show that you do um, that is, if it's Tuesday, it must be good news, right? And
yes.
I love it. I love it. So you tell stories where, in the story, you think there's no hope, but there is. So talk about it.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And the name came from, it's a spin-off from what the name of my book is going to be about when I went to the burn and the trauma ICU to have the universe prove to me that I was a healer. So time in the burn and trauma ICU, the name of the book is going to be similar to that, but that's how If It's Tuesday, It Must Be Good News came about. But my that book is going to be about all of the miracles that I saw also that are similar to what I talk about on today, if today is Tuesday. Um, I believe that every single person, everyone, and it's been proven to me, can heal or transform or open to their greatest health and well being from the inside out. And that's what all of those stories are about. Those are stories that I'm picking, from society that they didn't know they were going to be picked for that story, but it highlights how the healing or the transformation or the amazing outcome came from the inside out. It wasn't something that they tried to do. It was an internal love, belief, or trust that brought about the outcome.
Right. It is about believing that it's possible when all external forces, doctors, family, everyone's saying it cannot be done. But it's that internal knowing, that internal belief that, oh yeah, right? You think it's not possible? Watch,
Exactly.
right? And the stories are so beautiful and so incredible. You would think that there was no way, like the story of JJ Virgin you shared where her son was on death's door,
Yeah.
and the doctors were saying
He's dying. Yeah.
he has like a 2% chance of
Oh,
survival.
0.25%.
Yeah, oh, 0.25.
Right?
And, JJ said, we'll take that,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And just that belief that, you know what, there's a chance. It's not zero,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And you and I have stories that we are walking, living miracles where doctors told us, wrote us off basically and said, we will never heal. And we said, oh, yeah,
Watch this.
watch us. Um,
Stay tuned.
right. So, um, can you tell us a little bit about your story and what you've gone through and how you were able to overcome the circumstances where everyone around you was saying it's it's just not possible?
Yeah, it was very complicated because it has to do with black mold toxicity, and that's a really hot topic, especially in Western medicine. Western medicine either does not believe that black mold will kill you, or they only believe it when you're in liver failure, um, um, or they turn a blind eye to it. And so I had black mold toxicity. I have never, I felt the contraction of death like caving in on me. I felt it like a shell coming in on me. And the doctors were like, I don't know what it is. You're fine, whatever. And then in the middle of it, a doctor, a quack, diagnosed me with cancer that had metastasized in other. I was working in the emergency room in California, and he called me up and he said, "You have cancer with metastasis." And I said, "That's not possible." I said, "I only have a 3% chance of cancer." He's like, "No, you have it." And I mean, the whole room literally spun for me because I was sick. I was really sick. I mean, I
Right.
would drag myself out of bed just to go to work. Then I would go back to bed. And it was only because I'm so freaking strong that I was able to drag myself. So I ended up leaving work. Of course, I,
Right, like devastated.
oh yeah. I mean, literally the room spun, literally. And I talked to the social worker because social workers are amazing in the ED. And we went into the stop room, and I just started crying. And so I left
to
work.
to give you that news too over the phone.
I know, I know, I know. He's a whole other story, but uh, so of course, I text messaged my doctor who was back home, and he's like, "Let me get all the reports." I mean, he told me after the fact that he was a little scared. So
Right.
I thought to myself, what am I going to do? I was doing travel nursing in California, and I was living in this little beach cottage, and I was living kind of in fear. I would go down to the ocean and I wouldn't walk on the rocks because I was afraid I was going to fall. And, I didn't want to have a tank top on because maybe I was too old. But I went down to the beach.
You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I ripped off my jacket. I threw it in the back of my car. I kicked off my shoes and I went out and I walked on those rocks in the Pacific Ocean where like the surf is really, really big. And I laid down on the rock and I just connected with God. I connected with my inner self. And I couldn't get to the point of believing that maybe what he said was not true because I was so scared.
Hmm.
But I was able to allow some of the fear just to drop into the ocean through the rock. And I let the sound of the ocean soothe me.
Yeah.
And then when I was done there, I went to a nail salon and I said, I just got the worst news of my life and I think I need to get my nails done. So that
I,
was the
I
decision.
need to feel pretty.
But there was a logic to that. I kept thinking
Yes.
about all of the healing stories that I've seen, right? That woman who had the breast cancer, who did nothing but watch comedies and take care of herself, and then um, the the CT scan showed that it was gone. So that was the method to my madness, and I
It
did.
makes sense.
Yeah, plus it was over Christmas when I couldn't get in to see a doctor to validate or deny it. So yeah, yeah. So I was, having moments where I was thinking, all right, well, if this is really it, how do I want to go out?
Yeah.
And I would get really sad. And of course, I cried a lot and I prayed a lot. But there was one moment, Suze, where I was like, oh, hell no. And I got up, and as sick as I was, I put on my running shoes because I had fungal scarring on my lung and I
Mhm.
couldn't breathe. So I put on my running shoes and I said, I am going to make myself run so that I can breathe. And my doctor
Yeah.
back home, who is brilliant, he's like, go ahead and do it. He's like, you might break up scar tissue, but just go ahead and do it. And I would go out and I would run, walk. It was so hard, but I was so determined. And I just knew that if I could push myself to run, that I could live.
Oh my God.
I
Oh
know.
my God, right? Yeah. I mean, and then you found out that it wasn't true.
Right. I found out it wasn't true, but I also had been doing enough studying because the Western medicine, except for my doctor, was like, oh, no, no, we don't see anything, la, la. Um, I realized how sick I was. And I literally drove home from California on my birthday. I don't even know how I got home now. It was on my birthday. It was a full moon and it was the lunar eclipse. I will never forget it because I was in Arizona and there's the horizon and here's the moon and the lunar eclipse happening. And, I have chills because there was something so magical about that. And that it was my birthday that it gave me more hope. It just inspired me.
Oh my gosh. And today is the super moon, blue moon, right? The moon that doesn't happen but 100 every 150 years. So it's funny you told me that after I said it's only fitting that I am interviewing you on a full blue blood moon, super magic moon, right?
It's true.
Um, but and I just want to speak to people
Yes.
that it's really important that we be our own advocate. When we're given news like that, that's so devastating, that can completely rock your world. It's important that you do what Nori did, which was check in with herself, right? Go within and really, you know, not panic. I mean, it's hard not to panic. Somebody calls you on the phone and says you have, cancer, which and the kind of cancer that he was saying that you have is like a death sentence right over the phone. And it's hard not to panic. But when you think about how many times people were given the death sentence,
Yeah.
but because they didn't take it in, they didn't own it, right? That's the key. Don't own it.
That's right. That's
If
right.
if 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 you own it, you will die.
Exactly. And I have worked with hospice patients since I've been back, and some of them say to me, the doctor said I'm going to be dead before next Tuesday. And like a good patient, they go ahead and die. And some of them said, oh, hell no, I'm not going to do that. And they go on to live 2 years.
Right, exactly.
There's more that's going on than what meets the eye, or that we are trained to believe is happening. And it's those stories on if today's Tuesday, it must be good news that are not told often enough, that can give people hope, that can see that just average people across the world are choosing to be more than a label or a diagnosis or whatever they were told they were going to be, that isn't really who they want to be or who they are.
Right. And you know that I was bedridden for a year, a little over a year. And in the beginning, I bought into the doctors told me this was it. I was never going to work again. I was never going to, do anything like just live your life in comfort or whatever. And then I was on 22 pills and a pain patch. Um, and with no hope, right? But as soon as I said, at my lowest point, and I was so sick, I couldn't, focus. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't have a conversation. I lost my career. At my lowest point, I said, you know what? This is not my story.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I have chills.
This is not my story. I write my story. And
Exactly.
from that moment on, I began to heal.
Exactly. And I love your story because, I've seen people have in the ICU where I would whisper to them, you can make your own decisions, right? They're on the ventilator, they're on drugs. I'm like, you don't have to die. I know they said in your presence you have a 99.9% mortality rate. You can choose. And that's what
Yes.
you did. That's why I love your story. You defied the odds and what the doctor said, and you got up and look at you.
Right. When they gave me that label as forever disabled, and I wore it on my chest,
Mm,
and that was my reality. But when I said, I'm ripping this label off, you don't get to decide what my life is going to be. I decide.
love that.
Then within months, I went from 22 pills and a pain patch to only 3 pills a day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's a, well, you're a nurse, right? You've seen miracle after miracle after miracle. And it's really that ownership, right? When I first owned it, I believed it. I took it on as mine. And then when I didn't, just like you said, you know what? No, no, hell no. This is not my story. This is not going to be my life. It's not over for me. I'm a fighter, and watch this.
Yeah. And I'm gonna walk into your office and I'm gonna hand you that label back. Here's your label.
Yes, I'm going to burn that damn label, right?
Right. And it's not like, you go from 22 pills and a pain patch to 3 medications overnight. I mean, and there were times in the past year where I had to I had to forget, I had to block out comparing myself to how I used to be. And I had to learn how to walk up 3 flights of stairs again and not think I was dying.
Mm-hmm.
How to breathe when I have something else going on, because my body has changed. So I had to learn how to create my life brand new.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it, I think this is a really important subject to talk to people about because, like, my parents, like, even with my dad, I knew there was something wrong with his leg. But he was like, no, the doctor said I'm fine.
Right.
And the doctor's word was law. And so I knew there was something wrong. And finally, he had gangrene and he almost lost his entire leg. But thank God he only lost a couple of toes. He has since passed, but that's a powerful thing that to not to be your own advocate.
Definitely.
Would you say that's really important?
It's
Because
it's so important, Suze, and it's almost like we are taught, especially back in the day, right, when doctors traveled on a white beam of light. Back when I was a little girl, the doctor was, ooh, to my mother, to my
had as much power as the priest.
exactly, exactly. So it's almost like we're taught to deny our intuition, or to deny what we're feeling or what we know is true because somebody else says so.
Yes.
You know, yeah,
Yes.
totally agree with that.
Yes. So there's something else we totally agree on is that we are whole, perfect, and complete, right? Who we are in truth is whole, perfect, and complete. And everything else is just put upon us. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I love when you do.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. And that's part of what I was saying, that we can open to our greatest health and transformation and well being. The red cardinal is here. Um, from the inside out. So if we go back to the beginning, when we come here, we are whole, perfect, and complete. And because of family or society or what we were told in school or what we were told by our friends and what we were told by our cousins, we take on, it's like we're a flower, but we close all our petals and we close up to who we really, really are.
Right. So we can conform. So we can fit into that little box and not make anybody uncomfortable.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Right?
And, I made a lot of people uncomfortable, um, because of being a nurse. I mean, I was in one of the biggest university hospitals, and I would say to the doctor, "Don't you know about this?" And I would tell them the acronym for what was going on, and they'd go, "No," and I'm like, "Well, I think you really need to learn about it." I did that. I really did, and you know what? I have a feeling some of those doctors did go to learn about it. And a lot of the doctors um, may whisper, to you, go ahead and do this, but don't tell anybody I told you, to the next person that they have mold toxicity. But, I think that being who we came to be, um, and risking making people uncomfortable, it's time to do that. And
Yeah.
the people who are in agreement with that are not going to be uncomfortable. And that's how you heal. When you tap into the memory that you are whole and perfect and complete underneath the cancer, underneath fungal scarring on your lung, underneath 22 pills, when you tap into that truth,
Mm-hmm.
focus on it, the other stuff starts falling away.
It's true. It's so true. And I just want to say, like, when we say that you're whole, perfect, and complete, it's because in truth you are spirit. In truth you are of, you might call it God, universe, source, whatever your name is for it. You are of source. You are of God. And so you are infinite. You are unlimited,
Exactly.
right? So when you're born, you know this. Like nobody has to teach you how to, how to roll over, how to crawl, how to walk. It's instinctual. Like you know, like you know.
Right.
But then we start telling you, you know, don't jump, to sit still, and we tell you how to be. We tell you what to believe. We tell you this is truth. And as children, because we love our parents and we believe them, we start taking on all their stuff, all their beliefs, our teachers' beliefs, our clergy, our priest, our, you know, pastor, their beliefs, and we get lost,
Exactly. Exactly.
right?
I think I I like to look at it as we are a little spark of the creator
Mm-hmm.
expressing on the planet. So I'm a little spark of the creator dressed in this body called Nori.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having a physical experience, but if I tap into the spark of God,
Mm-hmm.
then the physical experiences that didn't go so great, that shaped me in ways that took me away from me, if I
Right.
follow that spark of the creator within me, I can return to who I am. And when I return to that, I return to health, I return to joy, I return to bliss.
Yes, yes, yes. So whenever we're not healthy or we're not well or we're unhappy or we're scared or we're in fear or lack or limitation, there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
You're just out of alignment with your truth. So when you can bring yourself back into alignment to that God spark within you and tap into that knowing within, then miracles occur.
Absolutely.
It must be. It must be. And
Absolutely.
and right here you have two walking living miracles, right?
I love this. Yeah.
And somehow the universe brought us together so that we could have this conversation, this very real conversation that the illusion of lack and fear um, only takes you away from who you really are.
Yes. Yes. And fear, fear is a big experience to unlearn. Fear is huge. And, you know, we all come to a point where, okay, this is funny. I just remembered this the other day. One of my ex boyfriends, and this was the time when my mom was dying, and I was still, you know, I was still in the process of learning the things that I learned that brought me to here.
Mm-hmm.
But he said to me, "You're afraid of everything." He said, "You're afraid of a leaf falling."
Oh
And
my God.
to some degree, he was right. I was conditioned with fear. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid that I was going to do something wrong. I was afraid somebody's going to take me away. I was afraid, 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 afraid. And and that manifested in my personality. Now, when I was a nurse and I was, being a healer, I wasn't afraid. But in my personal life, I was afraid. I was afraid to speak. I was afraid to be me. I was afraid to not do what they wanted. I was afraid to argue. Yeah. Fear.
Right. But now it's like you're fearless. You even when you feel that twinge of fear, you see it for what it is and you just move beyond it.
Right.
And watching you just unfold and release all that fear and all that junk and all that stuff that has been put upon you over your um, lifetimes, perhaps, right? That and just watching you step more fully into who you are and helping others to see who they are and helping them to step into their own truth, right? Because, in truth, we're all one, but we signed up for this experience, right? So we are sovereign beings, and we're not meant to be like anybody else. Otherwise, why have the experience, right? But we twist ourselves inside out trying to fit in that we just I don't know. um, you just lose yourself, and it's like you
Right.
cannot get your experience wrong. You can. This is your experience. You cannot get it wrong.
Exactly. And when I was thinking that I was going to die, I wanted to blame, I wanted to blame the apartment complex. I wanted to blame that doctor who misdiagnosed me. But the truth is, there really are no victims. There's only volunteers. And I had a really hard
Oh, say
time.
that again.
There really are no victims. There's only volunteers. And the beauty, now retrospectively, the beauty of that experience, there was nothing more frightening that I could have given myself than the fear of death. And once I said, I don't think so, and I got up, now I know I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not.
Right. You're right. It's like just I face death.
Now what? Bring it.
And told death, yeah, no, not right now. I'm like I'm pretty much liking this life.
I'm busy.
It's very freeing,
It is freeing. It's liberating.
and that's what happened to me, right? Being told this is going to be your life, and the next step was going to be have a pain pump implanted in my body, and then to just say no, no, this is not going to be my life. I create my own life. I make my own decisions, and I don't care what you say. I'm writing my own book. And it is liberating because, as you know, it wasn't too long ago, I was deathly afraid of being on video, right?
No.
And it's just like, okay, yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
I can do it,
do
right?
that.
I can do it. I'm just going to trust in myself, in that inner knowing, that inner spark, and remember who I am.
Right.
And it's so liberating.
So exciting.
It's like ah. So
And
yeah,
not everybody has to have experiences as big as ours.
right,
There, the the other things that cause discomfort is the same call to make a change. When we become really uncomfortable because it seems like things are getting really messed up at work and we feel like it's about us, or that relationship is not going right, or I keep ending up here with my finances, or I feel like I'm being bullied. That pain is not something to look to blame other people on. That pain is the call for us, for our inner spark that's saying, hey, if you pay attention to me, there's a whole new road to travel down that's going to not feel bad. And that's where
right,
we get to create our life and our well-being and our health. That's where the miracles happen.
right. I think one of the biggest things both you and I have realized is when other people are being nasty, or other people are being cruel, or they are you know, in blame or victim. That's not about us. That's about them.
Right.
And we take 100% responsibility for us and for who we are and for our actions and our words that we speak to others. And, but realizing we cannot get it wrong.
We never get it wrong.
You never get it wrong. Even all that pain, all that suffering that we experienced, it led us here.
Right. And, the bullying or people being unkind, um, that's that's part of what helps us transform from the inside out, because that's an external thing coming in. And if we go, no, that's not about me, but we look at what the truth is that makes us feel bad about it, like, okay, where does this come from? Do I believe that I'm what they're saying? Or where did that come from? Oh, yeah, that was when I was on the playground in fourth grade and somebody said, "Oh, you're so fat." And
Right.
right. So, when we can heal that part, then that external things that come in are not going to make us close up anymore.
Right. So let's use that scenario. So if in fourth grade somebody calls you fat and you believe it, then you take that on like a label and you label yourself fat. So you took ownership of that. And that's why no matter how many diets you try, how many cardboard frozen meals you eat,
Exactly.
in the hopes to have that body you want, it's not going to work because you took that on as your own. So, but the beauty is they can give it back, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's when, I mean, having been more 210 pounds, and having eaten the cardboard food and having dipped sticks in my urine, did paleo and just ate, meat, and I did all that. And that's not where the transformation happens. That's trying to do it from the outside in.
So let me just say, this is where Nori's expertise as a nurse, as a healer, as a coach, as a hypnotherapist, as a Reiki master, she takes all of her experiences and helps you transform your body from the inside out. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, it's about going back into that inner spark, and you have to go back to a place of self-love. And I know there's, that's so cliche right now. You have to love yourself, but it's really true. You can't create the new body that you want being critical or being mad at yourself or being mad at somebody else. So that's the most innermost layer that we go to first to transform, even in illness, right? Because I wanted to be mad at everybody. I wanted to be mad at the circumstances. But it was when I went to a place of compassion and that spark, that memory of that I am, whole and complete and perfect. It's from there that I can start changing the outside layers. And when you get in touch with that, there's a whole new world in there that you don't even know about, that says, "Oh, here's what you want to eat." And when you listen to that, you're like, "Wow, I don't know why I'm gravitating to this food." And you don't need a diet, or that little voice that you haven't heard in a long time says, "I'm full." And you're like, "Wait a minute, what do you mean I'm full? I haven't finished half of it." You're full. And you get to know that new part of you. It just naturally unfolds.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. And I have to get really honest. When I was like, I thought I really loved myself. I really thought I loved myself, really. But when I became bedridden, it was because I was self abusing and pushing beyond what my body was capable of at the time. And I resented my body and I was pissed off at my body for giving out on me instead of being, you know, instead of appreciating my body for like my heart beats.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about it. It's just going to be every day, every minute, every second of my life. No vacation, no time off, no complaining, right? So when our body needs rest, it gives us hints. And I thought I loved myself, but I was very self-abusive by pushing myself until my body broke down where I had no choice but to, I mean, the universe knocked me on my butt for a long time. So even, think about how you talk to yourself, think about how you treat yourself, and do you really, are those words of compassion and are those words of love? And if not, Nori can really help you get peel those layers and get to that inner spark where you know you are love.
Yeah. And what I heard you saying, you were, I mean, we've all done it. You know, I was doing it when I was, doing travel nursing in California. I was chasing a label. You were
Mm-hmm.
chasing a label. You were chasing a belief that you thought you had to accomplish. That it's like being on the hamster wheel, right? Everyone's on
Yes.
the hamster wheel because, like, ooh, I'm going to be this in this prestigious hospital. Ooh, I'm going to make this much money. Ooh, this and this is
Ex-
going to look good on my resume. Ooh,
exactly. And it's now in retrospect, it's like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. Like, I never took break. I never took lunch. I never took days off. I cashed out my vacation every year. I so did not honor myself. I
right,
was like in such denial.
right. But it it took it took the universe, it took the creation of those circumstance, the same thing for me, to say, okay, hurry up and do nothing. You're sick. Now think about it. Think
Thank,
about
thank you.
it now. Well, you know what? Maybe the money isn't all that. Or,
Right,
okay, being sick and being in a prestigious hospital is not all that. That's not who I want to be. I am feeling limited. I am feeling constricted. And it helped me to return, as the great Marianne Williamson says, right? To return
right,
to me, to return to love.
right. So I I just I just love everything that you put out, and you use all your tools in your toolbox. You use coaching and hypnotherapy and your years of experience as a registered nurse and Reiki to really make it almost, I'm not going to say it's completely effortless, but it's almost effortless where you do once you understand and once you can get to that place of love, it, you don't need that cardboard food or right. I mean, how long, like seriously, how long can you eat? Like, no wonder diets fail because how long can you eat that cardboard crap? Like,
And
count points and
I know, seriously. And here's the thing, and maybe it worked for a while, right? Right.
maybe it works for a very small
3 months or something about those threes. But if you don't meet the multi-headed dragon that's in you, that sabotages you, if you don't meet and make peace with it, you can try all the diets in the world. You can take 22 pills. It's not going to bring you to where you want to be.
no.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. So when so the first step is self-love and finding that spark within. And then
Can I back up for 1 minute?
yes,
The first step is realizing that there's something that you're experiencing that's making you go, ew, I need to do something. Something's wrong. It's recognizing that some people don't know what it is that they want to transform. Some people go, wow, it's clearly my weight, it's clearly my relationship, it's clearly my health. That's great. So first you have to identify that you want it,
right,
right?
right. But clearly it's us.
It's always us.
Sorry. I'm sorry if that offends some of you,
It's always us.
but it's always comes back to our perception of self.
Exactly.
Our own perception of self. And when you can see yourself as love, as unlimited, as whole, perfect, and complete, but you just got this stuff going on that's not serving you, Nori is exceptional and she can help you release all that garbage that doesn't belong to you. And then from there, you have a clear path to achieve the results that you're really wanting.
I like to, or I do visualize it as a lotus flower that, lotus flower petals only open one at a time. So if the spark, right, this fabulous, sparkly, incandescent, glowing spark that we are is in the middle, and all criticism, family, church, school, the playground, the husband, the wife, starts putting the petals into a tight bud. I what I do helps peel the petals back one at a time, so that you uncover the amazing person that you are, you always were. It's just life put things around you.
Yeah, I was always apologizing for who I was,
Yeah, yeah. What's up with that?
right? We were never born to fit in. We were always born to stand out. We signed up for this experience we call life, and we came here to shine in our own magnificent, beautiful way. And it's gifted, heart-centered, amazing professionals like Nori that help you see the beauty of who you really are.
I love that, and that's where
Yeah.
my tagline came from. Be you, full out.
As Nori Love says. Because I use her tagline all the time. Be you full out, as Nori Love would say. I always say that
Oh,
because it's just so true. It is. It's like, you didn't come here to hold the flashlight for your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, your daughter. You came here to shine your own brilliant light, right? We're all spirit, we're all of source, we're all of God. And, you know, so so you're meant to shine. You're meant to be, you know, unique. There is a reason there's no two sunsets the same and no two stones the same and no two people the same because it's designed that way.
exactly. And if we think about when we were little and doing that thing that we loved, right? We're running down the streets screaming and laughing and rolling in the grass, and everybody, the kids didn't think, oh, maybe I should do what they're doing. They were, as little kids, we were just so expressive, being us full out. It's time to do that as adults.
Yes, like who ever set the rule that when you hit adulthood that you couldn't have fun anymore?
And it's in having fun that more opens to you. Absolutely.
Yes, I just started saying we grow our best when we're having fun.
That's the truth. That's really good. I like that.
That is the truth. And so how so I love how you use the lotus flower, right, as an example because it is true. We have so many layers. And I always think if we could just unlearn everything we were ever taught, we would be so happy. um, so, how can people connect with you if they're wanting to transform their? I know you in March. March is a very exciting month coming up, and I'm just so excited for anybody that connects with you. So I know that you are launching your program, your body transformation program, in March. But you also do one-on-one sessions. Yeah, and so if you're looking to transform your body or you are having anxiety or fears or you're just not feeling that you're living to your fullest potential, connect with Nori. I endorse her 110%. I love her. I really have gotten to know the real Nori Love over this past year and a half. And, I just adore her. And so, you can really trust her and she will help you find your way to your joy, to find your way to freedom and happiness so that you can be you full out without apology.
That's
Without
awesome.
apology.
That's awesome. Thank you, Suze. And people
Yeah.
can connect with me on Coaching with Love on Facebook, Hypnotherapy with Love on Facebook. I have a vision board group on Facebook called Vision Boards with Love. And then I have a website that's going to be like my well-being store that's
Mm-hmm.
everything conscious. So if you can't remember or you're not on Facebook, you can find me on everythingconscious.com and get an email to me.
She does amazing jewelry. I have these
Thank
awesome.
you.
I
Amazing artist.
yes, she's a healing artist, and so she does these intention bracelets to so that it's just magic, and they're so powerful. So, um, and your email is Nori at coaching with love for the number four with the letter U at Gmail.
It's coaching with love, the number four, coaching with love, the number four, the letter U, coaching with love for you at Gmail. Yes.
Okay, beautiful. I'm so excited. I'm really excited for what's coming up and that we get to play together in many ways, co-creating and collaborating. And I know someday that we're going to do a live workshop or something together because, you know, we just have so much fun together.
True.
Um, so, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would really like to say?
No, I think we touched on everything. So good.
Yeah, because
And
I don't believe in limits. I don't even time my interviews. It's like when it's done, it's done. I don't know.
yeah, I think I just want to clarify that transformation can be anything that you want it to be. It doesn't have to be just changing your body. It could be changing your health, changing your well being, whatever that means to you. If that means that you're in a bad relationship and being well would be that you're out of it, then that's what it means. So, transformation is anything that you want to shift or open to so that you are closer to being you full out.
So I know you call it like you do coach
Hypno coaching.
hypno coaching, right? So can you explain like what that is?
Mhm. So the coaching part is to help get clarity on what the person wants to do, and it's. So I do coaching and I do hypnosis. So I've combined the two of them. So we do a coaching session in the beginning to get clarity and to help the person to get comfortable and to remove any blocks or limitations that we can move there. Then we can go into hypnosis where they tap into the part of their mind that has all the answers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. You might not know it, but you're brilliant. We're all brilliant.
exactly.
Um, so for some people that might be uncomfortable with hypnosis because they've seen those shows where people bark and all that stuff. Can you explain like what hypnotherapy really is? Like people that do the barking and make fools out of themselves, they know they're voluntarily signing up in that moment to be that person. But you have full control when you're in hypnosis. Is that
Absolutely.
true?
Absolutely. The person always has control. You never lose control. It's like, it's a state of relaxation. It's where we quiet the chattery mind, the ego mind, the logical mind, the analytical mind. We just quiet all of them to reach that deeper part of your mind where the answers are. It's the same feeling like when you zone out driving and then you end up at the red light close to where you're going and you're like, whoa, how did I get here? Or you zone out at a movie. You don't go to sleep, but you're like, I have no idea what just happened for the last. It's that kind of good feeling. So you're always in control. You can say this doesn't feel great, and then we can do something different. But I have not had anybody who didn't want to finish a session. It's
Yes.
amazing.
So I'm going to put the link to your schedule
Thank you.
as well. Um, as you know, so if you want to schedule a discovery session with Nori, you can absolutely do that. And, she will let you know if she's the right coach for you and if you're the right client for her. So, absolutely. So if you want to schedule a discovery session with Nori, I highly recommend it. And I just cannot wait because as we move forward, 2018 is the year of growth, of just being who you are without apology, with really discovering, what it is that you truly want. And with the full moon and the super moon and the blood moon and the blue moon and the lunar eclipse all together, right? Just to clear it, this is a new beginning for you to be who you were born to be and just be you full out, as Nori Love would say.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Nori. This was so fun. I would love to do it again really soon. And I just adore you. So thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much. Okay. And thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching the replay or this live. Thank you. Thank you. And this is Susan Bradley Bortfield from Partners at Play, and this is my Soul Speaker series. Thank you.